getting down. Okay. So
you're on.
well, that means you pay for everything else. Yeah, thank you.
Nothing exciting, I mean.
Mics are hot.
No, it was just junk and.
I'll give it to him one day.
Hello, Lou.
Get it out after the fact. Okay, thank you. That's what I needed.
I'm gonna touch on that during my report call with the fire we had
No,
yesterday.
How you feeling?
So we did.
I'm not contagious and I don't have a
I'll say, you
fever.
better not be.
I'm not. I went to the doctor. No flu.
But just be prepared.
Thank you.
I can't afford to get the flu. I'm too old.
We're taking your name on the council minutes.
Minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a correction?
Yeah. They've got me making the motion. And I wasn't here.
Well,
Oh, you did it from afar.
That's pretty good.
Conference call.
Ron. Hey, Ron.
Did it in conference call now.
What's up, man? Not too much about you.
that's pretty good.
Fine.
How'd you do that?
I'll just, you can say it correctly.
Okay.
Somebody else's name.
But isn't that
Somebody for
amazing
better
how
action,
many
I'm
though?
assuming.
Well, at one time you had to go take a special and pay the.
Good. Good. No, I don't want to get
Oh,
sick.
yeah. In there?
I do not want to
one
get
sheet?
sick.
Yeah. I'll put it in my purse.
Tony, I got a bright idea.
Hi, Scott.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hey, Mike's on.
How you doing?
Just so you know, I got it.
I haven't said anything bad yet.
No,
But I will.
you won't.
I know, that's why I haven't
Then
been
he
down to see
split
you
for
yet.
the garage.
Wait till it's warmed up.
Cheap. Easy maintenance.
Yeah.
Technology.
Okay. I'll get it to him.
Cause I'm just so nice. See, the bad part is,
How come I
I
don't
don't
know
need to
it?
heat or air condition
They're
upstairs.
nice.
Right. I just need that one, really the one bay, that way I can heat with just a, little. Thank you, Carrie. That size.
Got 2 minutes.
But the bigger part is the one I need to heat and AC if anything. And Little Canoe says you can buy a system pretty cheap. I figure I can get you
Andy,
that
right
So who do we got to play music?
Not a heat pump.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. You want the heat and cool, right? So that's a heat pump. So you're not gonna get one of those for
That's part.
maybe for an air conditioner.
Yeah, that was the alternative
That's not a heat pump.
when the other guy didn't make it through.
Might be an air conditioner.
The one that we wanted.
Why wouldn't it?
He wouldn't do it with him because he's going to be touring in Texas and he doesn't want to come here and go back, which I don't blame him.
With the electric element indoors. Problem, heat pumps are gonna be $20,000.
And I'll let you know when I'll put it in tomorrow.
On the site.
I think the other one hadn't gone through a meeting yet. I don't know, I was thinking about it.
Line set should be, this stuff might be a wall with the.
Okay, you guys ready?
On some of those,
Bill, you ready?
you have a minimum size line set because your
I'm just going to read this order since.
That's why. Even if it says it's not a problem. There's a nose, a orifice to it.
Hey, Johnny, your wife said you left your phone on.
Itself is a refrigerator.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Nice and warm in here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's nice and warm in here, you said? You're gonna have to excuse her. Anyway, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg City Board of Works meeting for January 16th, 2018. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements? I've got one. I'm going to need you guys to be flexible with me. I'm talking to Paul and Mooch here. We got the agreements from Strand on the Civic Park and Maxwell Construction as the construction manager. Those agreements are going to be coming before us in the next 3 to 5 days. And I'd like to be able to have a meeting. We'll obviously post it 48 hours in advance like statute calls for. But I'd like to get a meeting before our next council meeting, though, in order that we can get these folks moving. And because we've already agreed on the pricing as far as the project. These are costs that come out of the soft costs on the project that we had already anticipated and talked about. But we'll get you the contracts as soon as we get them. Hopefully we'll have them tomorrow, give you a couple days to take a look at them. If you've got any more questions or something, we can certainly get those answered from Strand or Tony Ackles or Maxwell. But just want to make you guys aware of it. I'll be calling here, or Carrie will be, try to set something up to get something moving on that. I don't have any other announcements. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
I just want to apologize to the board tonight. I was supposed to submit my year-end report, and I know you all were looking forward to it, and you're going to miss it. So I will have it at next meeting on February. The bottom kind of dropped out here in the last week and a half, so I've been struggling trying to get it done. My next thing is I gave the Board of Works a summary of an incident we had last night. We had a structure fire that was basically in the middle of the woods. It was almost impossible to get to with any of our large apparatus. And by the time it was reported and we got up to it, it was a total loss. But in the process, we got our mini units up there. We utilized pickup truck, our brush truck, and one of our UTVs, along with Manchester's utility vehicle with a pump, and ended up drafting water out of the pond to help, put out the remaining fire. On the way off the property, there was a treacherous hill, and we did ditch one of our brush trucks, and we got some front end damage. And I just want to prepare you that we're going to get some estimates, and we'll do on repairs. So I just wanted to bring you guys up to date on that.
Okay. Thank you. No one got hurt?
Nope, everybody's good. The occupant, we got him off the hill and got him to his brother's house. So, pretty devastated.
Okay.
All I got.
Okay. Police Chief Donnie Combs?
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have for the board tonight is contact Act Ford. Our cars are almost complete. And then once we get them, I'll have the guy from Safety Systems come down and put them all together, which only takes them a day, a car. And also the cameras that we got last year, last year's budget, they're going to be put in by our city garage. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. EMS Director Bobby Mills?
Well, Mayor, I passed out the incident reports, and one of them is from the county.
Uh-huh.
If you look on there, it shows us being called out 2,052 times. But if you look at our 2017 statistics, we actually made out reports for 1,968 calls. And the reason that is, they tone us out for the call and they signal 9 us before we get to the truck.
I got you.
And, but that's the difference in the increase.
Okay.
And also, the month of December, we did 199 calls. And if you requested a couple months ago about monthly statistic to compare month to month. So if you look on the back side, you got 2016,
Uh-huh.
then you got 2017. So if you just keep this in a folder with you, because next month you can look at January's totals, then compare it to the last 2 years if you want to. That's satisfactory. That's all I have.
All right. Thanks, Bobby. Glad to see you're feeling better.
Thanks.
All right, any new business? I have none to offer tonight.
I have just one question.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Bobby, just school me on something
Yeah.
here. I mean, Lawrenceburg EMS had 2,052 runs, and the closest thing to us was Aurora at 1,225.
That is correct.
Why are we, is that assisting other?
No.
Well,
You got to figure, compare us to other squads in the county. We have, 4 nursing homes we deal with. We have the doctor's offices in the daytime.
Okay.
And, of course, we service more of a population with the traffic going through town, Hollywood Casino, Perfect North Slopes. Just-
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot more activity.
I just had no
Good
idea
question.
why we
Yeah.
were so high, much higher than everybody else. Yeah, I was just curious. That makes sense.
we also do take Aurora calls though at times, right?
Yeah, if you look at that report, you'll see
In Greendale and,
where we do backup, we have a backup call. I'll give you an instant, well, in December, we only did 1 backup call for Aurora. Yeah, I mean, with Aurora having a daytime crew on, backup calls is kind of slim to none. We do make a few, but not like they were in the past.
Okay.
But yeah, we do make 1 or 2.
Well, that makes sense, because I know we're the thoroughfare for everybody, you know,
Right.
in southeast Indiana, so,
But you got to figure, we have, the nursing homes keeps us hopping too.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
okay.
That's intercepts, yeah. Intercepts in December, we did 13 intercepts in December. That's
Okay.
with Greendale, Dillsboro, Aurora, Rising Sun.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
okay. Any new business, guys? I don't have any tonight. Any old business? I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Utility Board, as soon as we're seated.
Kelly is going to be here to 1 minute. Do you want somebody from our office?
You don't need to. It's just a work session for,
Good.
I can go if you want me there. Brittany thought that you said you wanted somebody from our office there, but I couldn't
On the
understand
18th.
that. Okay,
no reason.
okay,
Don't worry about it.
all right.
You guys are fine. You guys are fine.
Take care.
Stay home and get well, would you? Get well.
It was a bad all week.
All right, yeah, I know. All right, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for January 16th, 2018, with a roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Present.
And myself.
All right. Announcements? Anything, Olin?
Yeah, a couple. We've had, as everybody's aware, acutely aware, we've had some cold temperatures lately. So we've had a number of services that are froze up. The guys have been responding to those and thawing them out as they come in. Keep an eye on your neighbors. Supposed to get colder, so keep an eye on your neighbors. If there's an issue, if you see water running in the street, let us know. We probably have a meter that's frozen broke, so we can get out and fix it. If you hear of somebody that's out of power, report that as well, because if they're elderly or otherwise unaware, it could be deadly. So, anyway, that's it.
All right. Any other announcements from anybody up here? I entertain a motion then approve the meeting minutes of the previous meeting.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports.
I've got one on the issue over in the well field, by the cat fields, our well field by the cat fields.
Uh-huh.
We probably need to set up a work session to discuss that item.
Okay.
It would be in conjunction with Greendale and Steve Champa, the engineer that is advising us on that issue. So if we could look at a calendar, no rush really, if we can get something on the calendar so we can discuss that, it'd be nice.
Get with Carrie and let's get her scheduled.
All right, thank you, Hunter. And that's all I have for committee reports.
Okay. New business, Mr. Clausen, looks like Lightstone's rate increase?
That's correct. As everybody's aware, we have a contract for retail power plant service with Lightstone, was previously with AEP. It is now with Lightstone Energy or Lawrenceburg Power. Per contract, we're allowed to raise that rate based on the percentage that is indexed out of the EIA process. That percentage this year is 1.6%, so we intend to raise that. It will be, we'll do the paperwork and everything immediately, provide notice to them. They'll see it on their next bill.
Okay. All right. He is not saying raising your all's rates. Let's be clear. Okay. All right, any other new business?
Question,
Yes.
is that on all utilities, Olin, or just the electric?
That is specific to the electric. We have a tariff that is in place, the retail power plant tariff, but it has a companion document with it, which is the contract for services. And under that contract, we're allowed, we weren't until 2018, but we are now allowed to raise that per the indexing of the EIA.
Get your answer?
Yes.
Okay, any other new business?
No, Your Honor.
What about old business?
I do not have any old business tonight.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Common Council meeting for January 16th, 2018. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did I get a roll call? Miss Suzanne?
Member Tony Abbott?
Here.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mel Davis?
Here.
Member Randy Abner?
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.?
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs?
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine?
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills? City Attorney Del Weldon?
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen?
Present.
Mayor Kelly Malone?
Present.
And myself.
Okay, under announcements, how about if we do board reports? Streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Cook?
No report, Mayor.
All right. Finance, Mr. Abbott?
We're good.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour Jr.? Fire, Mr. Abner?
Want to touch base with the cold temperatures we got going on here. We want to make sure everybody's safe, keep an eye on their heaters, and make sure that things are run properly. Other than that, that's it.
Keep an eye on your pets as well.
Yep, you're right.
I got a couple of small things. Don't forget, we have a meeting on Thursday evening of this week, in 2 days, regarding a potential housing project down on the river. We'll have a developer here. We'll have a bond attorney to talk about that process if we ever decide to go that route on a project. And also we'll have our financial folks from Reedy here to make sure that we can afford to do anything. So I just want to make you aware, it'll be at 5 o'clock. That's for everybody, 5 o'clock. So, hope you all can join us. I think it'll be a pretty nice presentation. So. All right, if no other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I do have a correction to the minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Davis pointed out, he actually wasn't at the last meeting, and it looks like he made the motion to discuss and review the claims for board approval. So that was an error. I believe it was Aaron Cook.
I'll take responsibility for it.
Okay. So if we could just have it with that correction.
All right, so we want a motion with the to approve the meeting minutes with the correction. I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Fire Chief, Mr. Tremaine.
Nothing further to report.
Police Chief, Chief Combs.
Yes, Mayor. We're going to hold again a citizens firearms course here in a couple of months. We'll probably put that in the papers and get some participants to do that again this year. We usually have about 10 participants to do that. Also, want to let you know that we had our reserves qualification the other day. They all did very well. And we also have the Tom Cochran Memorial next Friday. Everybody's invited for that. I talked to Joni tonight, and all we do is just meet at the gravesite on the 26th, Friday at 3 o'clock.
That's...
If you might make it, we just meet down there to...
What time is it?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Okay. All right. Okay. EMS Director Bobby Mills? Nothing? Okay. All right. New business. My name's on the first one to discuss the garbage pickup issue on High Street. That was a carryover from last meeting. I said we'd put it back on there. Wanted you to go home, think about it, any solutions to what we got going on there. So I'll open it up for discussion.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion is we should leave it as it is. I think if we move it out to High Street, I don't know where we're going to put the garbage cans, because the south side of High Street already has theirs because there is no alley. So now we'll have 2 rows of garbage cans on the street. It's going to be dodging them. We can't set them between the cars, or else we're going to damage one when we do pick one up with the arms. I just don't see no reason why we have to move them out there. The railroad, I talked with them, and they said that nobody has ever officially told the city of Lawrenceburg that they cannot drive around that corner of that alley.
I noticed there was a dumpster back in there also behind one of them. I don't know if it's, when I went back through there. I know we did it for years. How come we can't do it now? We got a bigger truck? Or did we decide to buy bigger trucks this time? Or I know the one-arm truck won't fit, but won't the other rear packers fit through there?
Listen, this came from...
I understand.
You guys got the calls that I didn't.
I got calls from our civil city, people. We're hopping a curb and we're running up on the railroad ties. I know what it's like to get a butt chewing from the railroad. I went, did a inspection of my floodgates, shut my floodgates. 2 or 3 days later, I had a guy show up and explain to me how I should never do that again without railroad personnel knowing in advance. So they don't need our truck driving up on the ties. We don't need our truck banging on a curb. If there's something we can do about it, fine, I say we do it, but I understand the point of our civil workers. For years, we've had not a whole lot of railroad traffic, and now that things are getting better, I don't know how many more trains we got run through town, but there's quite a few.
And they're longer.
And they're longer. So, I say, sometimes you gotta stand behind your workers, guys. Our equipment doesn't fit around that corner real good. In order to make that wider, and you're looking at utility work, you got a garage sitting there on the left, you got a telephone pole on the right, you're probably talking about $50,000 to $100,000 worth of work to make that work. Everybody is cooperating to an extent, putting the garbage out. Maybe there's an area to where we could designate as where the garbage can goes to keep it away from the vehicles. Not sure. But the other thing we could do is to send a truck on garbage day back around to make sure that street doesn't look as bad as what, people don't, maybe by the time people get home from work, maybe we could have their garbage cans back around the house or off to the side where they go in that area. That's my thought. There's a lot of people in Lawrenceburg that got the garbage out in front of their house.
Yeah, but in this instance, Paul, I think you're creating more of a hazard by putting them out on the street than keeping them back in the alley, because they're going to be out in the street, and it's not a very wide street there to begin with. Now we've got a set of garbage cans on one side of the street, now we've got a set on this side of the street. You won't be able to drive two cars opposite directions. And if you set them between the parked cars, because there's more parked cars on the north side of High than there is the south. So now we're going to reach in there with that arm off that garbage truck. We're going to hit one of those parked cars. Now we're going to pay for damage to a parked car. That's going to happen. I think we ought to see about widening that curb so that garbage truck can get on there without going onto the tracks.
Well, set them out on the street on Walnut Street?
Yeah, and it looks like hell too. Right by the police station. I'm sure they don't enjoy the garbage that's on the corner from them.
Go ahead.
And what I'm worried about is just, what if everybody starts coming in and wanting a special service? And
It's not a special service. This service has been to them for 50 years. It's been in the alley.
well,
Now you have a truck that can't get through there.
Our trucks can get through there. They've gotten through there.
Huh?
They've gotten through there.
With that one-arm truck?
Not with the one-arm truck, with the regular garbage truck.
The one arm, it can't make it through there. Mike, you have something to add?
Yeah, a couple things, Mayor. And Tony's right, that route's been set up like that 50 years ago, but it was set up when there was a crossing right there at the alley for the trucks to be able to go in. Lost that crossing, they put the curb up. Our trucks did try to do that. Now, just because they did it didn't mean it was right, nor should we continue, but you can make that as wide as you want, but you still only have so many feet. And the alley's only 16 and a half feet wide. They're still gonna cut the corner. You can widen the entrance however far, but you're going to cut the corner with the radius and be on somebody's private property regardless. So that doesn't really, but, and I think it's something you really need to look at, because if something would happen with the railroad, just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's right. Really need to look at that, and I believe the ordinance does state that the city will collection location.
Somebody mentioned, Randy, was I didn't see a dumpster back there when I drove that.
There was
Is there a dumpster back
behind
there?
somebody's house back there. I don't know if it's.
Do we empty
ours.
that dumpster currently?
Sure we do.
I mean,
Up at the
if we
right
can get a
down there.
dumpster, so we're getting a picker back here to empty that dumpster.
There was one back, I don't know if it's being dumped, but there was one back there. Back there near Powell's house.
I agree with Tony. I mean, I'd rather keep it in the rear if we can at all possible. If we have to do a little modification, we should. I mean, if you start putting them out front, like, it doesn't look as good. I mean, if we have to, we have to, but if you start designating spots for the trash cans and you're cutting in the parking up there, and if you cut it close, like we talked about down here on Tate Street, you're creating a problem. You might hit something in the process of getting these cans in between cars.
Well, you know.
And I don't know who said the railroad called, but when Tony called the railroad, he said they've never called about that issue. The only thing they've called about in recent history is leaves being dumped in their right of way. I think down here by the city garage, they haven't called about this issue at all.
You might have issues with that, but then I think Chief Tremaine may have some issues if we can't get a garbage truck back in there, right? Maybe we can't get a fire truck back there. So that's something we might have a bigger picture that we want to look at, you know.
Well, what I was thinking is, if
Also-
we're already dumping a dumpster, why couldn't we just provide a bigger dumpster for back here in the alley?
Well, now you're gonna be asking seniors to be dumping their garbage cans up into a hired dumpster, you know, walking halfway down the alley, you know.
I know when my mom lived out at Greendale Housing, she had to take her garbage out and put it in a dumpster. I mean, and that's all, those were all seniors, and I'm just trying to find a solution, but
But the thing is, if there's a dumpster back there, we gotta get a garbage truck back there to get that dumpster, so.
Right,
So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that helps us or not.
To it.
I can't wait to hear this.
We only need, we pick up garbage 2 days a week.
Yes.
There ain't anybody in this town that fills a garbage can up, one of them big blue garbage cans. I bet you that 90%, I wish somebody from the city was here to let us know, but I bet you 90% of the cans that truck runs around picks up are probably about 25% full. If we were to take and look into picking up garbage once a week, and what I'm talking about here is for residential people, not for commercial, because I know that would need to be done on the same schedule. Maybe at that point, for certain trouble areas, that would free up our guys to go move those cans to a point to where we could do the trouble points on a different day, and we wouldn't be taking any more man hours. They would still have the work. We're not trying to cut them out of any work, but I have wondered, and there's been a lot of people ask me, why do we pick up garbage 2 days a week? It seems like that we could do it once a week and we'd be fine. I'd like to at least ask our Civil City people what they would think of that.
Well, I don't know that they would have an issue, but I can tell you what the residents would think of it.
Why would a guy like me and Ray Jean, for instance, care if the garbage man came around one day when our garbage can's only got 1 or 2 bags in it and it's got another halfway to go?
I feel
with
it.
Gene.
Yeah, I fill up 2 a week, full ones a week.
At least.
And we have a raccoon problem.
Raccoons.
Very problem, and everybody pulls in late at night, dumps all their garbage. So if you're asking me, I'd rather have it 3 or 4.
Well, but you have a business.
That's dropping it off. I've been videos all day long, all weekend, people drop.
That's Wendy, you make a good point. It's the reason we've taken dumpsters out of the parks, because everybody and their brother is using it as their dumping station from outside the city. And so we've purposely taken them out of the parks. And as far as I'm concerned, we're going to continue to do so. But for this this situation, I mean,
Where are we hitting the curb at? On which alley?
Next to Holt's.
Next to the Holt's? You going east?
Or if you put a bigger dumpster, it would probably have to be the front load.
Wouldn't make it. That's why I'm here and not doing Civil City work. I don't know what I'm doing. But,
I still think widening the curb, doing this bigger curb cut would help us, because apparently we're just barely hitting the railroad track, because those are breakaway curbs on those tracks, and there ain't none of them been broke away yet. So we can't be hitting them too bad.
okay. I will make it my job then to, I will go talk to each of the garbage truck drivers that drive that route, or have the ability to drive that route, and figure out if we have an alternative for them. How's that? Is that okay? Everybody? Yes, ma'am?
On the garbage stuff. Dumpsterman actually called the city that day, Mark. That does kind of help on the raccoon problem.
Sure. You have called and they haven't replaced it?
Brad said that dumpster, under a dumpster, and the lid was paid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think in their case, that's a shared dumpster probably for about 4 or 5.
Well, at least with the lids, though, it does cut down with the raccoons going in and they're building families in there.
We're all about adding families to the city, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Mitch.
We had our office up in Harrison prior to, there was a dumpster. Your garbage. Maybe if there's one behind place. Lock it up. Lock it back up. The tenants we have, city that there's dumpsters there for. To stop people from having.
Yeah, I know, we've got a huge problem in the parks. I mean, that we knew that and have known that. You'll see mattresses and everything else brought to those, but.
It's everywhere, because even like Dick Martin down, he had to lock his, like Mooch was saying before, because right there behind his business down at Trading Post, it'd be full before he has time to use it sometimes. It's not locked right now, but when it gets bad, he has to lock it up for a while, then same thing's happening up there
They'll
too.
find another spot, right?
Yeah.
The thing is about, like Wendy's dumpster has a containment around it. Even if you lock the dumpster up, they'd fill that containment up. You don't want
Oh,
that
I got you.
tainted.
Yeah, they're not picky where they put it, right?
It's usually full, though, on Friday.
All right. Well, I'll talk to the sanitation drivers and see if they have a suggestion, rather than, maybe there's a consensus we can come up with. So, that's on me. Okay. Next item is mine, Pregnancy Care Center Life Walk, April 21st. They contacted us just asking permission to use the trail. They know that they cannot go through the city any longer. They're okay with using just the trail for their 5K. They just wanted to get approval to use it on April 21st. I think this is sort of their weekend. They always have it. if I'm not mistaken. So I would entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. And I have one other item that didn't make it on the agenda, and I apologize, and it doesn't involve you really thinking too much. Main Street has got a line item in their budget, it's been in there for quite some time, called Concrete Fund. It's a fund in there at Main Street, and it was for concrete work years ago. I think there's about $30,000 left in there, and really, they can't do anything with it, because for concrete program. What I'm asking, they would like permission, or I asked them to ask for permission, and so I'm asking tonight, is to be able to move that concrete program dollars into a marketing line item for them, so we can help pull from that for the different events that we have, such as regatta, bike race, things like that. That way we can utilize that money instead of it just sitting there for a concrete program. That's not happening. Any questions about that, or can I get a motion to give Main Street approval to move the concrete program dollars into a marketing line item?
So move.
Second? Did I hear a second?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you. Pat?
Yeah, I just have a question. We've got that, a special account that's race. You're talking about marketing, but you're talking about events.
Yeah,
Take it and put it in that race event.
yeah, don't, I wouldn't create a new, if you already got that one created, I just put it in that.
In the race event.
That way we can use it for marketing for those events.
And that account is restricted only for those
Yep,
events.
exactly.
Just so everybody understands.
Yep. Okay. Next item, Suzanne, we got write-off of outstanding checks.
Yeah, this is something we do every year, per State Board of Accounts. We have to write off any outstanding checks that are greater than 2 years old. On the second page, you'll see a list of those. We just need a motion permission to do that, clean up our books a little bit.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Let's make sure my name isn't on there.
I'm just glad we get the $100 from Olin.
Here,
What's that? Oh, so we get the...
Olin's name's on there.
Is he on there? Huh. We're canceling that check.
I would.
All right.
Work is later.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the ability for the clerk treasurer's office to write off these outstanding checks.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Mr. Clausen, I think we got I guess it'd be Mr. Weldon, but it's the first reading of the ordinance creating the Communications Division, which is better known as Florida Fiber.
I didn't get a copy of that.
Do you know what number it is?
Oh, yes, I did.
Suzanne?
It would be one.
B1? Jiminy Cricket.
Can we do all three now?
Yeah, and what I'll do, Mr. Mayor, Your Honor, and Mr. Clausen, if it's okay, and in an effort to kind of expedite the reading of ordinances without cutting any corners, I think from now on, if it pleases the council, I'll do the first reading, we'll open it up to an explanation by Mr. Clausen and questions by council, and then I'll go ahead and do the second reading by title, which we're already allowed to do per our local ordinance, and then after the second reading, we'll ask for a vote just to do the third and final reading in the same meeting as which it was introduced, which is the state statute. That's the only vote we need before the third and final reading, which can already be by title only. So we'll save the vote of council until the very, very end. So that'll just make it a little
Suspend the
shorter.
rules then at all?
After I do the second reading.
Just second.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Before the third reading.
Yes, sir, Your
Bill
Honor.
wrote it.
So I'll go ahead and read it once, and then Olin can explain it, and we'll open it up for questions and commentary. This is ordinance number 1-2018, an ordinance establishing a new communications division in the city of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, authorizing such new communications division to provide communication services and take all necessary action to provide such services.
Whereas the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana owns and operates Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities, which provides electric, water, and wastewater utility services, residential, commercial, and industrial within and around the city in Dearborn County, Indiana. Whereas in recent years, LMU's customers have expressed an increased need for broadband internet access services and other non-utility communication services and information services, which are not readily available from other providers on an economic basis. Whereas affordable, reliable, and innovative broadband services are essential for residents and businesses in today's economic environment and for quality of life. Whereas the city has a desire to ensure that all residents of the city and students of Lawrenceburg community have affordable access to broadband internet access services. Whereas LMU desires to install certain communication facilities which will allow it to provide broadband internet access services and other non-utility communication services and information services to its customers. Whereas the city and LMU desire to implement and install communication facilities which allow LMU through a division to be known as the Communications Division to provide non-utility communication services of all kinds, including but not limited to broadband internet access services and other non-utility communication services and information services over or through all media, including wireless, wireline and wireless, whether such services and facilities are now known or developed in the future with or without the city and within or without Dearborn County, Indiana. Whereas under the Indiana statutes regarding home rule, a governmental unit wanting to exercise the power where there are no applicable statutory or constitutional provisions may do so after adopting an ordinance prescribing the manner for exercising such power. Whereas there are no Indiana statutes or constitutional provisions prescribing the manner in which governmental units such as the city may provide internet access services and information services. Whereas City Council now finds that the public interest will be served by LMU's provision of the foregoing proposed services through the Communications Division. And whereas the City Council further finds and directs the LMU Communications Division to maintain a separate books and records related to the proposed services. Now therefore, be it hereby established and ordained by the City Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that the city is authorized to establish and hereby does establish the Communications Division as a division of LMU with separate books and records. The Communications Division is authorized to construct, acquire, control, operate, and maintain a communication system capable of providing to the public non-utility communication services and information services and facilities of all kinds, including but not limited to broadband internet access services and other non-utility communication services and information services over or through all media, including wireline and wireless, whether such services and facilities are now known or developed in the future, within or without the city and within or without Dearborn County, Indiana, as permitted by applicable law. The Communications Division shall have the authority to establish and charge rates, tolls, and charges for the services, facilities, or commodities furnished or made available through the Communications Division in any manner consistent with applicable federal, state, and local laws. LMU and the Communications Division shall have the authority to engage and or retain consultants and legal counsel and to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the terms of this ordinance. LMU and the Communications Division shall have the authority to seek any regulatory approvals necessary to carry out the terms of this ordinance. All ordinances and parts of the ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. The invalidity of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other part of this ordinance which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon adoption and signature by the mayor.
Could you reread that, please? I didn't hear.
Yes, there you are. Absolutely.
Council.
Now, if we could always get it by without reading it. Okay. Any questions regarding this before we go forward with the vote on the first reading? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1-2018.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Could I get the second reading by title only, please?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Ordinance number 1-2018, ordinance establishing new communications division of the city of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, authorizing such new communications division to provide communication services and to take all necessary actions to provide such services.
It's a long title. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 1-2018.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I will now entertain a motion to suspend the rules for the third and final reading of ordinance number 1-2018.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Please please read ordinance number 1-2018 by title only for the third and final reading.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Ordinance number 1-2018, an ordinance establishing a new communications division of the city of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and authorizing such new communications division to provide communication services and to take all necessary actions to provide such services.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 1-2018 for the third and final, for adoption. I'll entertain a motion. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. That was a little easier.
When will this all be done, Olin?
Does it ever end, Tony?
Well, I see him out there working hard on it. I see.
On the make-ready work, we are about a month ahead of schedule.
Great.
Data center started a week ago yesterday. They are supposed to be completed within 120 days, but we think that could be completed sooner than that. We anticipate that the fiber optic backbone will be installed before the data center is completed. Once those two items are completed, we will go through probably a month or so of testing to make sure all the systems are working correctly, that we don't have any trouble with those, that work the kinks out. Primarily with the data center piece to make sure that it's functioning correctly, it's operating correctly. At that point, prior to that, actually, we'll come back in and start talking about how we will schedule out fiber to the home, what the early enrollment might look like, what the rates and fees and structures, which will have to be approved through ordinance, would be. So there's quite a bit of work left to do, but it's moving along nicely.
Great.
Late April, May. Sound right?
Yeah.
Late April to May?
Your Honor,
Yes.
may I ask a question? Instead of us wasting all the time to read a 98-page ordinance, is it against the state law to read the ordinance by title only and say that we will publish the ordinance in full in the newspaper?
Well,
And I'd like to ask a question. How many people understood the full impact of this ordinance when Dale read it? Nobody. So,
well, obviously, it's a lot of legalese. I mean, it is. I mean, but I don't know. I don't want to come across like we're trying to, I get why you're saying that. Trust me, I don't like it either. But I just don't want it to come across like we're not sharing what we should be sharing.
well, I think if you read the title of this ordinance,
Yeah.
and listen to the words, that establishes what we want to do, what the utility company wants to do, and why they want to do it. And I think if Mr. Weldon would title the ordinances appropriately, you get the meaning in the title. And then if you want to read it, you could read it in the newspaper the next day.
Well, it'll be published in our code and
It's on the website too, isn't it?
We can pull up our code.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this wouldn't necessarily be in, an ordinance like this wouldn't necessarily be in the code, but it is provided to the council members a week before so they can consider it. And I think reading it in public is just a way of ensuring that it is presented at a public meeting, the entirety of the body. If we wanted to change that, we could.
That's just a suggestion and a question.
Sure. Yes, sir.
What if you read the ordinance? I didn't understand it. I didn't have a clue.
I think we should do that also, I'll be honest with you. That's not a bad question, Tim. Because a lot of them aren't very self-explanatory. What this one does is just sets up another communications utility for our fiber, so then we can start making revenue off of it at some point.
Basically says we're all gonna get free HBO.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
Go on,
But
Dan.
a good point. I mean, that needs to be done in conjunction with it needs to be explained in layman's terms, and I agree with you.
And to answer your question, Mel, there are two laws. There's a state statute. The only thing the state statute says is that the the ordinance shall not be presented for final vote in the same meeting in which it is presented unless there's a unanimous vote to do that.
understand, right.
But we also have a local ordinance that says we have to read it in full once, and then we have to read it by title 2 more times, and we have, for a total of 3 readings.
So all we have to do is change the local ordinance.
Sure, yeah.
But do we have to read it in its entirety, or can we just read it by title only?
Read it by title only if we change the ordinance. And then publish it in the paper.
Publishing it, you know how many ordinances we do. That might be a little cumbersome in the paper.
Not really. I'm sure if somebody's here for the paper, I don't know.
They're not.
But I'm sure they'd be happy to publish it for us.
Well, at a price.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm not against it. I just, and Tim, I think, point well taken. I think in conjunction with that, we need to have some layman's terms, hit the highlight points or whatever. So, everybody else knows what we're talking about.
I don't disagree with that. It just, like I say, if we read it by the title, and after we got finished voting, or maybe after the second reading of the title, we explained the ordinance. Here's what it is, blah, 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 and vote on it.
I think it's a
You
big,
guys okay with changing our local ordinance and doing it by?
I think it's a big pain doing this.
Oh, tell
but
me.
I'm not for changing it. I think we need to read it, because whoever's out there might be here for that, so that they can hear it that night at the meeting before it's voted on, not see it in the newspaper later or wherever. I mean, if they're gonna complain about the ordinance, they hear about an ordinance coming up, they're gonna be here at the meeting, they're gonna listen to when it's read, and so they better understand
I
it.
think if we explain the ordinance, like, okay, how many people understood that, whereas the city and LMU desire to implement and install communication facilities, and I'll read it real fast. How many of you caught that? And if we said, folks, here's what we're going to do. We're going to establish a communication utility. And we're going to provide broadband and other internet services to the residents and commercial entities. And I think my sentence was a heck of a lot less than a 42-word paragraph.
Aaron, how do you feel?
I mean, I think it's fine the way it is. I mean, I don't enjoy the time, but I mean, it's 3 minutes. I mean, it's not like it's 25 minutes. People like Mr. Snyder come only for the ordinances. If we get rid of that, he probably wouldn't even come anymore.
Shame on you, Tom.
No, I meant David. I meant David.
Oh, David.
Yeah.
Well, shame on you, too. Randy, Paul, you guys got any?
I don't have a problem with what we're doing now.
I like meetings, you know that. I'm fine with it.
All right,
I see Mel's point, but I don't know.
okay. No, I think they like what we're doing,
Well, Dell, I tried.
Thank you, Mel.
but we will do a little layman's terms probably.
Yeah, we can just add
Yeah, we can do
that
that.
part and keep the rest.
We can do
the same.
that. All right. I have no other new business. Anybody got any new business? Under old business, Mr. Seymour, you wanted to talk about calendars?
Yeah, I'd like to bring it up. We, calendars last year, put together a committee, and, I think we learned a little bit. I think the gals had a pretty good time doing it. I think that I'd like to do the same committee again. And what I would like to ask of the council is the one thing we've learned is, we've got a choice. We can print a calendar, or we can participate and really put a creative, professional effort in a calendar. I think our committee would like to ask for an allowance to put a really effort in it this year and put a creative, professional, some creativity in our calendar. Now, what I'm asking you guys to do, and this is a lawyer question, I think that if We would like to hire a professional service. The bidding process in the past gets us 2 people consistently. We have I think everybody on the committee, and Carrie here, she can back me up, I hope, but we realize we're pricing 2 different things here. We're pricing apples and oranges, and we would like the freedom to move up a little bit, and I'm just gonna come right out and ask. We would like to have a $10,000 budget to do the calendars in 2018.
How much was it last year?
I'd say it's usually around that much, anyway, isn't it?
This year was about 6.
We had 2 prices, Shai of 10,000, and then I think it was $5,600 or $5,800.
Yeah.
Are the LCD and the city of Lawrenceburg doing their calendar as a joint calendar this year?
We actually split the cost this year. So whatever the city spent, the LCD did half of it. Yeah. And I'm 99.9% sure I can make that happen again, because everybody was pleased with everything.
Well, I'm okay. I mean, if it is a professional service, I mean, we don't have to bid it. And you're right, we only get routinely two local bidders on it anyway, that we've had in the last, 2 years that we've been here. I think you gotta decide on what price.
I'd like to make a comment.
You said
before
10,000?
everybody decides on the price. We just gave Main Street $30,000 for marketing, and I can't think of a better tool than our calendar for marketing. Now, I'm not asking for any of that money from Main Street. What I'm trying to point out.
Yeah, he is, Pat.
What I'm trying to point out here is that I think, Carrie, I think you were one that at some point was wondering, okay, do we need a calendar? But I think this year, I think you realized that a lot of people want this calendar. We've got a lot of older folks that aren't on a computer, and they want it. So I would ask the board to look at this calendar like a marketing tool.
Really?
And don't forget, you just allowed $30,000 to be used for marketing.
Paul, you don't need any more money then, right? Like, if it's in the budget for the city for $5,000, and if the LCD's gonna contribute $5,000, that's $10,000 anyway.
Absolutely.
Because there's already a line item for it.
So I'm asking you
we already got a line
guys
item.
to approve half of that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Budget, you can use it.
Okay. Well, the motion on the floor then is to, going forward with the calendars, we will do it by, regarded as professional services, and the city's part will be up to $5,000.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We just had a correction. She just corrected me
Yep.
on something. The Conservancy voted to do a third of that calendar last year.
Last year's.
Yeah. If you remember, I voted to do a third.
Okay, well, you need to get them to vote half then.
Half now.
I'll make an attempt.
We're gonna, our motion is to approve up to $5,000 from the city's standpoint of our budget, right? And regarded as professional services. It's up to you to convince those folks over
Put a
there.
lot of pressure on me.
Try it. Can I
They
get a
only go
motion?
for a third, then they only get 3 pictures.
Yeah. Can I get a motion? Do I have a motion?
We already did it.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Paul.
Can you repeat the motion?
No.
I was distracting her. It was my fault.
The motion is that the city, we agree to pay up to $5,000 per year for the citywide calendar. Got it? and it is regarded as professional services. But we got a line item in our budget for it. Okay, I have no other old business. Does anybody up here have any old business? I'll entertain comments from the audience. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
My name is Amanda Rainey. I have a question for Mr. Seymour and the rest of City Council, along with Olin Clausen. Mr. Seymour, did you contact your fellow City Council members, along with Mr. Clausen, in a threat to personally kick their ass if anybody talked Tyler into rescinding his resignation?
Yes, I did.
Do you feel like that's professional?
No, I don't.
So was it your
That was
intention
on-
all along to have Mr. Lawrence in there so that he could hire Richard Butler as his attorney and you could have Richard at the LCD and here at the clerk treasurer's office?
That comment was made jokingly.
Well, it's not a joke when you're an elected official. I'm disappointed. And I'm disappointed in everybody that received the message that did not reach out.
Reach out for what?
To stand up, that's ridiculous as an elected official to think that that's appropriate behavior. And Dell, we had a meeting in May. You know the severity of it. I expected more.
So you receive a message if you had nothing to do with it? How's
I think
it?
professionally, you could have handled it in a different manner.
I-
That's all I'll say.
What do you mean handle it different manner? Yeah. We didn't acknowledge it. I didn't acknowledge that, no.
Did anybody acknowledge it,
No,
Mr. Clausen?
absolutely
Did you
not.
acknowledge
No
it?
one acknowledged it.
How did you feel when you received that message, Mr. Clausen? Did you think it was professional for an elected official to send you something like that?
So I've got two thoughts on this. Number one, I'm not going to try to put into context tonight what that text was. I took that as being a joke. I did. Secondly, I'm not, nor will I ever be in the habit of discussing communications with my council, whether it's text or email or anything else with anybody in the public. I'm just not going to. So whether that's right or wrong for me to not reach out, I'm not in a habit, nor will I ever be in a habit of talking about the things we discuss with the public.
Okay. Hopefully, all of you can reflect a little bit on your morals and ethics and step forward in 2018 rather than how 2017 was handled. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I did make it. I'm not gonna say I didn't. I did it as a joke. I apologize. I know Tyler. I like him. Well,
Like Tyler, you wouldn't have sent any.
Well-
That's as unprofessional as they get, especially when you're talking about.
I made it. It was a mistake.
Now everybody knows.
Well, and you know what? I don't mind you saying it because I did do it. I'm not gonna deny it.
I've pulled a check from both LCD. You can continue to pull checks from both LCD and Lawrenceburg. It's really unprofessional on both aspects.
Okay. Any other comments from the audience? Yes, sir. Could you go up to the podium, Tim?
I just missed the day and time for that housing project meeting.
It'll be Thursday, the 18th at 5 o'clock here. Yes, sir?
I would like to say that the city is doing a great job with the snow removal. They are out there 10, 11, 1 o'clock in the morning, and when you get up in the morning, it's the main roads are clear, and you can drive in northern Kentucky and other places, it's not that way.
Thank you.
The city's people are doing a very good job.
Well, thank you. I ditto your remarks. Brad and all of Civil City over there, I know there might have been some LMU folks helping out as well, but yeah, they've done a pretty nice job this year of keeping us clean.
No, the winter's not over.
No, don't jinx us. Anybody else?
Your Honor, I've got one comment. And if I'm speaking out of turn, I apologize in advance. When we as a board communicate about various things, whether it's through email or text or something in person even, I communicate with you all with the foregone conclusion that those communications are private, that they're between us. And so things like tonight are disappointing to me in several ways. Disappointing to me that ugliness like this could be avoided, and disappointed that somebody obviously didn't feel that those communications were private amongst ourselves. And the problem with that is I don't think anybody here thinks Paul was trying to be offensive to Tyler. It was made in jest. But because people aren't there and they don't get the context of it, it's taken out of context. And so I would just hope that as a board, as professionals, that I guess in 2018 we can do a better job of keeping those kind of communications to ourselves, because I know I certainly depend on it. I talk about a lot of very confidential things with all of you, and I hope that that's the case.
I treat those kinds, any conversations that I send out to you guys as, especially if it's personnel related, I treat it like we would an executive session, or we should. So, yeah, I apologize for all of us having to go through that this evening. Anybody else have any comments? All right, we have a, where did I do with it? I gave it to you. We've got a grant, a pretty sizable grant going on with the Adult Center that we were awarded in 2017, and work will start coming here soon, and we're going to have some requests to write some checks, I believe, out of the grant fund that is set aside for this project, because the city of Lawrenceburg is the grantee of the grant. The Adult Center is the recipient of the reward, of course. But anyway, we've got one here tonight. The vendor is Land Consultants. This was stuff done in conjunction with what do you call it, pre-construction of this project. Looks like coordination of the Dearborn Adult Center remodel work and bidding, along with some postage, total of $2,939.54. And I'm asking for a motion to approve paying this out of our funds that are associated with this grant.
Did this go through Marie and her construction board?
This did?
It'll go through the board,
It'll
right?
go through that process, and it's not really an advance payment, but we're kind of treating it as such because it's a grant, and we want to be able to release the money right away. We have very limited time, so sometimes it may not make a register. So we will let you know every single time that there is one of these that come up.
It's a request to
So
pay.
this has to go through her and her board. Oh, it already has, well, that's
We
why
won't
I
bring it
asked,
to
has it
you.
already gone through her and her board?
Right.
Well, the way it is, I don't think it goes through the board. I think it's the
Her construction.
Committee, the
Construction.
committee. But we have to approve the payments of it.
Okay.
Correct? Did I say that right?
Yeah, we have to do it this way because we have, the Adult Center Board has to approve it, we have to approve it, and the state has to approve it. Once the state approves it, we have 5 days to cut the check. So in order for it to be on your register, the check has to be cut, but technically I can't do that. So what we're gonna do is as soon as we know about an invoice, we'll do a register like this, you guys will approve it, and even if it hasn't gone through the Adult Center yet, we'll go ahead and have it go through you guys. That way, as soon as the state approves it, we will just keep everything moving.
Yeah, but shouldn't it should go through her construction group also, before the checks are given out?
Correct. Marie Edwards signs off on every single claim.
Okay. Just so everybody's on the same board.
Well, bottom line is, we're responsible for the money.
Yeah.
So,
I made the motion.
okay,
Thing
I need a
is,
second?
we may not know where the money's going. Or why it's going here, or why it's going there. That board does. Whoever's on that, I don't even know who's on it.
I don't either.
They're approved there first before you'll.
And before
Get it
we'll
here.
see it.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I need a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you for coming. Be safe going home.
I got confused because they all signed it.
Yeah, so, you're John, I just didn't know if there was a way we could exercise it earlier.
Thank you. We are friends. Known each other a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better.
Thanks, Lee.
I'm gonna stop down and see you guys.
Be careful going home.
Yeah. Well, I'll stop down next week, it's be warmer.
As soon as I get a copy of those agreements for Strand and Maxwell, I'll get you copies so you can look them over.